So, for those of you who've seen any of my posts on LinkedIn recently, I've become mad on this Chat GPT. Um, and do you know what? It still blows me away what it can do and what it will be doing in a very short space of time. Because what we see and what we're able to do is surely just a fraction of what the actual software that they're now developing can do. But I think from writing poems, writing code. I've had it write code, JavaScript for steganography. Not that I understand about steganography. Someone asked me to do it who couldn't access it. Um, but I think just the way that we search at the moment, I've been looking recently for a particular software solution for people to be able to, or a client to be able to store contracts, get them signed, and also then regular statements and information going in on a monthly or quarterly basis, and for them to access. And it's been a struggle. So I thought, well, I wonder what, because you get obviously lists of pages and you go down and keep going through, and there's most of the top pages in Google tend to be 7 are the best ones and 10 are the best this and 5 are the best that. And it all sort of repeats. They all go through the same thing. They all tend to be affiliate referral. So you basically go down, they show you the top 10, the one where they make the most profit or commission, and work their way down. And so it necessarily isn't the best recommendation. So I thought, I wonder what would happen if I tried using the Chat GPT. So I started with, can you suggest a client portal software that we can use? We can store documents that they can access when they want to. Now, again, that's not even in very good English, to be fair. But the first, within a few seconds, this popped up, and you could see clearly it was thinking more along the lines of like Dropbox and OneDrive, which is a file storage, so they can access those documents. But it isn't, again, because I was pretty poor in my description of what I wanted. Then it came back with these, which aren't these options, which aren't going to be good solutions for what the client needs. So instead of trying to retype the whole thing, I just said we're looking for something more individual, so members can access their own portal on our website. We'll be adding their contracts and statements to this space. In that case, some client portal software that may fit your needs include, and it gave me a list. So it says it's always best to evaluate the features and pricing of each option to determine which one best suits your specific needs. So I said, can you add the URLs for this option, please? And there it was, popped up within seconds, gave me the links. Now, the first thing to say here is that the software ChatGPT isn't live data. It's working on data from 2021. So when it's coming back with this information, it's 2 years old. So at the moment, so when I started looking through, I opened those links. I found that some of them were shut, some of them were open. But again, these are solutions or options that I hadn't looked at, and a lot of these hadn't come up on Google. Spit it out, Lloyd. So there's a few shut ones there, but the point is, it came up with quite a few different options. So it then gave me the links, and it's worth mentioning that the data that we're working on with ChatGPT is from 2021. It's not working on live data, so it's not going to Google or finding information based on current lists. Although saying that, when I actually went to these links, these are actually also in Google, but they're dead. So it's not current, but you can get the idea. It did come up with solutions and websites that weren't actually in the first page results of Google, which I thought was quite impressive. So I said, are there any more that we could look at? So it said, yeah, there's a few more, and it again came up with a few more options. Yeah, look at that. The QuickBooks portal. I never even thought of looking at QuickBooks. It's an accounting package Turns out since I have been in touch and it won't do what we wanted. So maybe not that accurate, but it did make me think maybe there's something like Zero or one of the other uh, software accounting packages that will be able to do that particular job. So I haven't looked at that yet, but again, it gave me a good idea. DocuSign. So now it's looking more when it says a client portal. So basically, what that does is it does create a space, but it's more for signing electronic documents, e-signing, which again isn't what I wanted. Filevine, my case, again, I'd not heard of them. Filevine was there. So again, I asked it for the URLs and it gave me them, and I went through and looked at those. So I asked, are they all still live? And it said, yes, as of my knowledge, cut off in September 21. So for those of you that have been following my LinkedIn rants, um, excited rants on ChatGPT, you'll know that I'm pretty well blown away with this software. It's it's incredible what it can do. So I've done things from writing. Well, you can see on the left here. Look, it actually developed a game for me, a board game. It a nice poem about being nice for children. That was kids' poem. Some limericks. So I've done quite a few recipe examples, which I printed on the LinkedIn thing the other day, and that again print it design come up with a 3 course meal for 4 people for one with a nut allergy and one person who's vegan. So I had been looking for a client for a portal for the client to be able to add information to that portal that their clients can actually go in, find the documents, sign various documents, upload them, store them there, and then they'll get it's a property portfolio, so they get regular updates and statements into that particular account. And it was very difficult. It's been very difficult. I've been looking on Google and not found anything that really just fitted what I was looking for. So I thought I'd give ChatGPT a little go. And this was my first attempt. Can you suggest a client portal software that we can use? We can store documents that they can access when they want to. Now, that's in pretty poor English, as I'm sure you can see. But even so, it went out and it came back with this list: Dropbox, uh, OneDrive, and Google Drive. Now, clearly from my instructions, it thought I was looking for storage, which uh, sort of what we need. But we wanted something more bespoke where someone could log in to their own account. But I hadn't been very specific in that. So I then said, we're looking for something more individual so members can access their own portal on our website. We'll be adding their contracts and statements to this space. So it then came back with a list of, was it 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. And I asked it to find those URLs, which it did. So it gave me a brief explanation of each one. Now, from there, I then said, is there any more that we can look at? Because 4 didn't seem a lot. And it came up with DocuSign, which is an e-sign in electronic signatures, but a client portal solution. So whether or not that actually is something that would work, I don't know. I've not really looked at DocuSign yet. I've used it quite a bit, but I don't think, again, it's exactly what they're looking for. And there's an interesting one, Intuit QuickBooks. And now that's an accounting package, but if clients can go and log in to their own part to be able to download or see their invoices or their statements, that may well work. Then Filevine and my case. Again, I asked it for the URLs. Now, the next thing I did, I went to a couple of them, and as you'll see here, these were alive. They had been alive, but now they're no longer working. So I asked if they're alive, and it came back and said, yes, as of my knowledge cut off in September 21, all the website links I provided are still active and can be accessed. Now, 2021 September, that's 2 years ago. Well, actually, no, a year and a bit. So it's amazing how many of these software companies have gone down, but they're still in Google, showing because I've searched. But just to let you know that, of course, ChatGPT only has data that it's gleaned since 2021. So it's not live. So the information it's given me was good. It gave me loads of different options, but at the same time, it hadn't checked the up to date version. So, and I'm sure that will happen very soon. So again, I asked, are there any more similar file invite or client portals? Because those two seem to be quite along the lines we needed. So it then went away and it came back with this information. So now we're getting a bit closer. Panda, this again, that's a document sign-in one. That e-file cabinet, that was pretty good as far as what we were looking to do. And again, I asked for the URLs. So then I started looking at WordPress plugins. Now it came up Gravity Forms, which is which you can put on WordPress. Dear me, lost my words today. On WordPress, Gravity Forms, I use it actually on quite a few websites, and basically it's a form generation. So you can design a form, put it up, and it stores that data, but it doesn't do. You are able actually to upload information to it and files, but it doesn't do what we need. So then Client Portal. Now that one, Client Portal, had a new. It didn't pick up the right URL for that. It's now called clientportal.io or something, and that is the one that we're going with. It's perfect for what we need. So that bit there was wrong, but I can't explain how much easier that is than trying to go through and literally just click on hundreds of different links through Google. Because the conversation I'm having, I've started looking for these things, and it's come up with other ideas. It's actually expanded on our conversation. So Client Dash, WP Client Pro, these are all then WordPress plugins. And then I started to look at, okay, well, what about membership plugins? Would that do it? So I asked for some membership plugins, and this is what it gave me: a list of 1, 2, 3, 4. Add the URL. Save me having to write the list out twice. But you see, what I'm thinking is that at the moment it's quite laborious going through Google and trying to find what you want and refine what you want. But based on this conversation, as I'm adding things to it, so it based on the conversation and being able to add and refine that conversation without having to start again, I just think it's brilliant. And you can imagine moving forward, you'll be able to link in your account. So maybe you got you want to, let's say, design a website. So you can start coming up with the ideas. I mean, I did that the other day. It came up with ideas for the domain names. Come up with some brilliant ones actually, which I bought some for a solar project that we're working on. And then you'll be able to say, well, okay, go to Namecheap and buy that name, or go to GoDaddy or whatever, or it'll search for it and say, okay, now buy that name and buy that name. If you've got your details in that account, it will go to the account, set it up, because there's already processes to do that. There is software available, automation process, where you can click on a make a recipe, which will click on a button, it will add to cart. Just fucking rambling. So, all in all, I think what I really liked about it is the fact that I can refine the search without having to just try and come up with different keyword terms. So it looks at the previous conversation and it comes up with new data. Well, I say new, but up to September 2021. But, I can say now I want WordPress plugins. I want membership plugins. I could have asked for membership websites, but all of that, I think it made it so much easier. And just imagine when we can actually then say, okay, buy that software or buy that plugin or register for that link, and it will go away, connect up, buy that, and then Oh, that's my Alexa. So, so for those of you that have been following me on LinkedIn recently, you will know that I've been raving about the Chat GPT, and I've done various different things, each one various different topics I've tried, not only just writing content, that was the first. So write me an article. Now I've tried using AI content generators for a while, and the problem with that is you put some information in and it'll write a sentence or a couple of paragraph or a couple of paragraphs, and then you take that and you add that, and then you have to sort of redo it or expand on that or write some titles. And although it's been quite good, it hasn't really blown me away until I started looking at what ChatGPT can do. And you can say, listen, write me a 5,000 word ebook or a 5,000 word article on the benefits of SEO or the pros and cons of SEO or how to set up a Facebook account. And it does it. I mean, it just does it. And that really is quite, I don't know, it's exciting. But I was looking at a YouTube video, Jordan Peterson, the other day, and he said, within a year, things will be unrecognizable. And I believe that. I think what it can do, what we discovered, when I discovered this, and this was only launched last November. So it's clearly been around for a long time, but only just released to us. And we're only seeing what we're allowed to see. They've released this bit, but you can imagine behind the scenes it does a lot more. Voice recognition now is, I mean, how much that's improved. We used to use dragon speaking, and for me, where I don't finish my words properly or complete my sentences sometimes, because my brain tends to work quicker than my mouth, or sorry, yeah, quicker than my mouth. Um, I've always had problems with speech recognition, but I tried one the other day and it was spot on, because what it does, it doesn't just take the words as I say them. It takes the words and then looks back at the context and then corrects or adds in the words that it thinks are missing, and it's right. And mind you, to be fair, I've noticed iPhone has started to do that. That used to be really bad, but now iPhone is actually looking back at context. But ChatGPT blows Alexa, Amazon. Your speaker has lost internet connection. My Alexa's lost connection. Anyway, the Google one and the Siri. I mean, it blows these out of the water. And I think what I was trying to do the other day, I mean, I've had it write articles, as I said, I've had it write software, JavaScript for a friend of mine. I've written a kids' poem book with it, limericks. I asked it to produce, and some of them are really good. I even got it to write a love song, um, and write about being nice for kids and kids' poems, and it just, well, as I said, it constantly blows me away. But what I decided to try with today was to get it to write, or to get me, sorry, to suggest software for a project that I'm working on for a client. And they want to be able to store information, so the contracts, and then update with statements and information on a monthly or quarterly basis through a private portal, which obviously only each client can access their own through the website. And it's quite expensive to have that done manually and to do exactly what they wanted. They've looked at having it developed, and it's a really expensive option. So we thought we'd look at what available software options were out there. And I did that first on Google, but I was going through pages of stuff, and I really wasn't getting much success. So I thought I would try with ChatGPT, and you can see the results, can't you? So my badly written English here doesn't even read right, so that we can store documents that they can access when they want to. So it came up with the likes of Dropbox, OneDrive, and Google Drive. Now I understand why it came up with that idea. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted, but that would do exactly what I wanted them to do. Apart from they won't have their own independent portal. You could have a client portal uh, in Dropbox, and you send them a link and they can access it, and you can send a private link for each one. But again, it doesn't do what I asked it, but it's not what we wanted. So the next thing I did was to say we're looking for more individuals, so members can access their own portal on our website. We'll be adding their contracts and statements to this space. Again, it's not a brilliant description, but it came up with 4 different options, and then I asked it to print the URLs, and there's any more we could look at. And again, it provided me some more, which again, I asked for the URLs. Now, when I started checking, I found that some of these links weren't working. So clientsecure.com doesn't work, and a couple of the others, to be fair. So I asked it, are they still alive? All still live? And they said, yes, of my knowledge, but it was cut off in 2021. So this information that ChatGPT is using is not live. It's from a data set in 2021. I looked through the list of them and I found 2 that I quite like the look of, that were close to what I wanted. So I said, are there any more similar to File Invite or clientportal.io? We need clients to be able to access their documents online. We don't need case management. So one of them was for law firms. So it tracked the case from the start to finish. These are the ones it come up with. And they're not all right. They're not all good, to be fair. PandaDoc is an e-signing document. E-filing cabinet was good. Docu Explorer, what it does, it's more for digitizing your paperwork. So again, not what we wanted, but something I hadn't found. And in fact, got to be honest, very few of these were in the first 1 or 2 pages of Google. And then I thought, well, let's have a look at WordPress plugins, because the basic site that the clients use is a WordPress site. So it gave me a list of WordPress plugins that could be used. Again, Gravity Forms, that wouldn't be any good. WP Client, that was quite good. Client Portal, WP File Download, again, that would work. I then asked for ChatGPT, finally, can you get all of the URLs from above and put them in one list, grouped by type of website, which it did fine. And then asked if it would, what it thought would be the best option for our clients to access the documents, files, and regular updates. Now, this isn't perfect by any means. I mean, Gravity Forms will not do the job at all, so it got that wrong. But I think you just get a flavour of what this is going to be doing in a few short years. Search will change as we move forward, and ChatGPT gets better, and we're getting live data. That'll make a huge difference. And the next thing, let's just say you want to develop a website. You'll be able to come and say, right, I want to develop a website on solar panels, which is one I recently did. And I'd like you to come up with domain names for that website, which are catchy and what did I put on it? I can't remember now. Catchy or maybe rhyme. So go solar or something along those lines. So I put a couple of examples and away it went. And the names it come back with were brilliant. Now, what it wasn't able to do, because again, it's not live data, it didn't come back with the availability of those. But soon, I'm sure, I'll be able to connect that to my Namecheap account, be able to go through and say, right, come up with these names. I'll find them. I'll then be able to say, I want Go Solar UK, whatever.com. It'll go and register it. And then I'll be able to say, okay, now bear in mind it can write code already. So for it then to be able to go and set up the hosting, for it then to be able to put the name, get the name set up and forward the name service to the domain name, and then for it to create and set up WordPress, that will all do that all for me. But I just can't wait to see it when you'll be able to start from the beginning, from concept of a website to development of that website, design the images, place the images, write the content, and then you just go in and have to edit it. And we're not far off it now. And I think that I can't explain how much I think that is going to change the face of the way we do so much. Yeah, I can't explain it too well. It boggles my mind. But as I say, if you watch the Jordan Peterson YouTube video about ChatGPT, he does tend to explain it a lot better and more succinctly than I do. Anyway, that's what I think is going to be happening. So watch this space and let's let me know whether I'm right or wrong, eh?